Recently, a news has been circulating in media that a nuclear power device has been lying buried at the top of the mountain Nanda Devi. Now, let's understand what's the mystery behind this claim. So for this, we go back to 1964 when China conducted its first nuclear test. Now, the US intelligence agency CIA became suspicious of Chinese activity and wanted to monitor their nuclear activity by checking the radiation level. For this, CIA hired some mountaineers for an expedition to Nanda Devi, where they carried a plutonium powered device to monitor the Chinese nuclear activity. Now, they did not inform the US President, Mr. Johnson, as well as Indian government. So both of them were kept in the dark. Now, the expedition failed to put the device on the top due to extreme weather conditions, and due to avalanche, it got buried deep into the snow. Later expeditions were unable to retrieve the device. So it can be assumed that the device is still lying buried in the snow-capped mountain of Nanda Devi. Now, the report was first published in Indian Express newspaper, and in 1978 it was addressed in the parliament by then Prime Minister Morarji Desai. We all know Morarji Desai was the first non-Congress Prime Minister belonging to Janata Party. Since Nanda Devi is a source of many rivers including Ganga, so many contamination studies has been carried out to check the emission levels or the radiation levels in the Ganges water, which has not been found. So it can be safely assumed that the device is still buried safely into the mountains. But we can understand that the Nanda Devi has been closed for tourists and travelers for 42 years. And one of the reasons is the possible dangers or fears of radiation levels. So this was all about the news. Now from exam point of view, two important topics need to be understood. First, the Nanda Devi, and second, NPT, which is linked to nuclear test. Now Nanda Devi is the third highest peak of India after Mount K2 Godwin Austen, Mount Kanchenjunga, and it also houses Valley of Flowers National Park as well as Nanda Devi National Park. Now Nanda Devi has been designated as UNESCO World Heritage Site way back in 1988 and is also a part of World Network of Biosphere Reserves since 2004. Now regarding the NPT, so the Chinese conducted its first nuclear test in 1964. Now 1960s was a period of Cold War between US and USSR. Now the world was already seeing heightened activity of nuclear tests. So to check the spread of nuclear weapons as well as to promote nuclear disarmament, NPT, which means Non-Proliferation Treaty, was introduced. It was first introduced in 1968 and it came into force in 1970. Now, what did NPT did? Now, it designated countries who have conducted nuclear tests by January 1st, 1967 as nuclear weapon states. Now, those countries who are performing or conducting nuclear tests after the cutoff date January 1st, 1967 will be designated as non-nuclear weapon state. So in this case, India, which has conducted its nuclear test in 1974, will be considered a non-nuclear weapon state. And the number of nuclear weapon states are 5, which are USA, USSR, China, France and UK. So India is a non-nuclear weapon state and India is still not a signatory to NPT. So hope you found the videos informative. Thank you.